you getting back into fantasy football. I want to know who's on your team. I know you have a 90-point spread right now as of this recording in order to win tonight.
Yep.
I've already won my first game of the week, first game of the season.
Congratulations.
I went into Sunday being down 68 points.
Wow.
With the other team's opponent already only having two players. They had two players that I guess played on Thursday night leading into Sunday, right?
Yep.
And they had 68 points already off of two players. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna lose.
Wow.
I'm gonna lose my first game of the season. I'm gonna lose. But my opponent ended up finishing up Sunday with 170 points to my 177 points, winning my first game of the season. This league in particular, the buy-in to this league that I'm in with a bunch of old classmates was $125.
Oh, okay. So fancy.
So
how many comic books did you have to sell to get that?
I didn't yet, bro. You already know this. Why you keep putting it on me like that? So I'm kicking off the season. The top. If I at least make it into the top 3, I'll get my money back.
Yeah.
But it's good to start off the season with a win, with a W.
Only half of your league can say they're undefeated. Remember that. You are half. You are above the 50% mark.
There you go. So I feel good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm curious what your lineup is. We can share lineups.
Yeah, I got Lamar Jackson, quarterback. Right?
Okay.
The Ravens. He's so where I stand right now. He's got one player, Waller, Las Vegas tight end, which will probably do, I'd say, about 10 points, but he's up on me like 60 points, 90 to 150. So
wow,
I literally need Lamar Jackson to go like 70 points today.
Damn,
probably not going to happen.
Probably not. But I will say I had him his rookie year. Was that the year before last or before that? I had him as a quarterback. I invested into him. In like week 2, I picked him up as another quarterback because I think my was it week or something like that. I picked him up early on because I saw the hype and then was very happy with him. And then I think I remember one game him scoring out the ass like 60 maybe. Woo. Like he killed it for me. I was like, thank you, Lamar. I even almost bought a jersey because like my favorite player of generally at the end of every year of playing fantasy, whoever's like my best player, I'll get their jersey. Because I'm a football fan. Niners are my squad, but like if a fantasy player does really well for me, I become a fan of the player, and then I get the jersey as a celebration for me. So I'll have faith for you, bro. I don't know, that's a rather high mark to get.
Yeah,
but Lamar, he's a decent quarterback. He's a decent quarterback, man. I think you're good for the rest of the season.
I think I've got a solid squad.
Let me know your squad. I'm curious in your lineup.
So I got Lockett from Seattle. I got McLaurin from Washington. Lockett balled out. He gave me 29 points. And then McLaurin, I think he'll do better later on in the season. Barkley from New York.
Saquon. Yeah. Saquon.
Saquon, he shit the bed. Completely shit the bed.
Yeah.
And then I got the running back from New England, Harris.
Okay.
Kelsey, that's going to be my 10 pole.
Travis Kelsey.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Kansas City.
Best tight end out there.
And then I got I think it's Shepard from the Jets. No, New York Giants. I'm sorry, Sterling Shepard. Who was sitting on my bench, and he came up with 25 points. So I'm a little angry. On that.
Okay. It's funny. I kind of have quite a few of the same players.
Yeah.
So my starting quarterback is Patrick Mahomes.
Great.
That was my top pick.
Yep.
And then the cat that really shit the bed for me this week, a Niner, because I'm a 49ers fan, so you know how to pick a Niner for my lineup. Yep. Brandon Ayuk. He was killer. He's one of our best receivers last year. He didn't do shit for me. Big fat 0 this week. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? So, and he was healthy. So I'm curious, He is making me rethink for the next. If he doesn't do something in the next week or two, I'm gonna have to get rid of one of my favorite Niners, and I'm disappointed because he shit the bed for me. Next up, receiver Tyler Lockett from Seattle. Yep. I have him as well. Another receiver I have is Michael Pittman out of Indianapolis. Running backs,
Pittman Jr. I got him too, but he didn't do anything this week.
He only did. He was projected to do at least 14 points. He only did 5 points for me, man.
Almost six points for me.
Almost 6. Yeah, 590 is what I saw. What I have. Running backs, I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire with Kansas City.
I wanted him so
and
bad.
I have Carlos Hyde from Jacksonville. Only because Carlos Hyde was a former Niner, and I shifted him in. Put him in there.
He was a monster for the Niners.
Yeah. Now he's just so. But he did do better than what was projected. He did 780, but was projected 748, so a couple points higher. My tight end, Gerald Everett from Seattle, who you had, I think, as well. And Sterling Shepard on the swing.
Yep.
Is my other receiver. Backup, I have from Las Vegas, Josh Jacobs, Chase Claypool, receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, receiver. Russell Wilson is my backup quarterback. Yeah, a lot of people were pissed off, but I was like, you know what? I picked him in the early rounds because I wanted to take him off the table. I was like, you know what I'm saying? That was a straight up draft technique. Let me take out one of the best quarterbacks, have him as a backup. So that way that just limits, a person out there for the rest of the teams to have a good, quarterback.
So you wait for a team who has a shitty quarterback and they got a solid like running back or something. You do
trade value, right?
Yeah.
Take them off the table and use them as possible trade value later on.
I should have taken Patty Mahomes and Lamar like right off the table. Like if I had the opportunity, just say like, hey, can't have them.
Dude, this was my first year experimenting like that, and I feel very psyched about this. Like
I'm afraid like you definitely don't want to trade it because anything can happen because God forbid something happened. I think I had one of my top picks was the running back from Baltimore. Gus, who just got injured.
Okay.
So basically didn't even play. And that was like one of I think that might've been my first or second round draft.
Yeah.
You sit there and go like literally nothing. So I mean,
I've had that happen with a couple picks before. So, so that's why, hey, get another great one that you can trade to get another great one. So, so that's my play. We'll see how that goes, man. So,
that's nice.
He's sitting there on my bench with 40 points. Luckily, I started Mahomes, who gave me 47 points. You know what I'm saying?
I just haven't played in like 7 years. And I just was I didn't play based on the fact that I was watching every game. Because I had to. And now last like 4 or 5 years, I've only really been watching the Patriots, and I've been kind of keeping an eye on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, like a scoring lover. I'm just kind of on the other side of the room, just kind of paying attention just a little bit.
So finishing up my team, man, I have Smith, your New England tight end, because I'm keeping my eye on New England, man. Brady might not be there, but Belichick knows how to pick players, man. So I have Smith, backup tight end. Sony Michel from the Rams is a backup running back. Tony Pollard from Dallas, backing running back. And Gould is my kicker from San Fran, of course. And obviously San Fran on defense. So, I plugged in my San Fran here and there where I could.
It is funny because
Ayuk, though, is the biggest disappointment. Like, what the fuck, Brandon? Like, he killed me. So he's on my shit list until he produces.
Yeah, sit on him. You have more than enough on your bench to figure that out.
Yeah. So interesting fantasy week, bro.
Before we get into Shang-Chi, I'm curious. What is the status of your comic books?
We didn't do any updates since last week. The plan was to at least, on the weekends, start pulling and bagging and boarding and to start listing. There was conversation brought up, but we just kind of got caught up, as a family. And I got busy booking so many goddamn interviews, that I just hadn't had the time for myself either.
Have you thought about consignment? Or do you think that you're going to make more money on the, maybe you do both?
I want to try on my own first until maybe consignment. but it's just getting that ball revving, the
Mhm,
ball's
mhm.
still revving. We talked about it, but just it couldn't get around to it this past week since last time we talked.
I think between now and in preparation, if you're not going to do anything, like you figure out the process of like, oh, this is how we're going to ship it. We're going to bag and board it, of course, but like, and then what? And then how is that going to ship? And then even though you're not doing anything, you're going, oh, well, I should probably figure out how to get these shipped. So when the ball is rolling, you don't have to think about that after you're like, oh, let's list it,
Yeah. The shipping scares me because, it's all about, proper, you wanted to make it there in the grade, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They expect it to be mint pristine. It's all about the grading and,
Mm-hmm.
so shipping, like it's got to be sealed so tight and packed right that shit, I don't have the patience. I'm old as fuck now. Like, okay, I'll bring it to FedEx or just can my wife wrap it properly? And she's afraid of that too, because she's afraid, it's all about the grade and making it there. So
well, one
it's
thing
difficult with that.
is that you didn't have them graded. So,
Yeah,
like, getting
that is
it
true.
there, once it's graded and there's a number on it, you go,
Yeah.
oh, this is a B, and you sell it as a B. You got to make sure it ships there as a B. But if you don't have it graded, it's whatever the value in which that you sold it at. I don't know if that helps your stress or lowers it.
No, that is true. But then what if it gets there, the mail fucked it all the way up? And then, they can dispute, that's the problem with like eBay stuff in a way though. Like they can pull their money back and then then I'm shortchanged and then out of the deal. And so I'm super at a loss, so that's what I get scared of.
Yeah. How do they normally ship it? How, if you were to buy something, like, I don't know, maybe since you like to spend money, why don't you just buy one that is graded just to see how it gets shipped?
They wrap it a lot. So I've bought comic books and they pristine the fuck out this. They put it, sandwich it between tons of cardboard that they cut up and then they wrap it with bubble wrap. They do all kinds of stuff. And it's just like one single issue sometimes. And like, I don't have time in that because I have several issues, like where's the time to wrap all that up? I'd rather sell it, in person to somebody local than have to ship sometimes. But I know if I want to get the big buck, I have to open it up to people everywhere else in the world. And then I have to proper package that shit to get it, to them. So it's just so much work when I think about it.
But so much money
and time.
But I mean, I guess the work.
So then I go to consignment, which like you said, then just take all the work out of my hand and do it that way. But then how am I getting the proper amount there?
Let's say just in $1,000. Let's say you can sell a comic book for $1,000. How much time is $1,000 worth to you? And does that, like, the shipping, the posting of, the shipping of, does that equate to your time?
Yeah, if I only had spent $2 for that comic book, I'm gonna get $1,000 off of it. Yeah.
I think you start looking at like that, where you go, okay, here are all my heavy hitters. These are all the ones I'm going to make 1,000 or more on. And then all the ones that you're like, oh, this is going to be, maybe $30, maybe $25, consign those where there's the trust. There's the trust because they're going to make money off of it, right? You go, 10, whatever you agree on for percentage, 10%, that's 25. They're going to make 5, whatever the math turns out, whatever they make, but they're going to make money off of it and they don't have to buy it. Build the trust. They go, hey, the money's always on time. There's no issues. Here's your $100 joints.
This is why you're the king of comedy, man. And why you run shit, man. You're right. You're right.
No, I am so cavalier because it's not my money. Like, oh yeah, just this is how you should make and spend your money, because none of it falls on me. Definitely do what you are comfortable with, but there's a lot of different ways to go about this.
Yeah, nah, you're right. I just got to make that time and figure it out. And I feel
you got child labor. You got your child labor right there. They can do all that work for you. Hey, this is what I need you to do. Cut all of this cardboard into this size.
Yeah.
So we can ship it. Make her do the work.
Hell yeah. Nah. I'm with
Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about more comic books? You ready to talk about comic book movie?
The ultimate Asian superhero finally finally hitting the big screen.
Yeah.
Let's get into it, man. Shang motherfucking Chi.
Okay.
Simu Liu, Fala Chen, Michelle Yao, Tony Leung, God, Aquafina, bruh. Tell me your thoughts. I'm sure you already see mine. I haven't seen yours. I don't think you posted much, so I wasn't sure that you had even seen it yet. But I fucking loved the film, man.
I wanted to give you the exclusive. I wanted to give us the exclusive. I wanted to have this conversation.
My guy.
Why
don't you tell a story real quick for those uninitiated who they should already know it, since isn't that how we let off the other ones? We kind of give a quick breakdown.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry, I just assumed
bring it in.
But okay, hold on.
If they didn't know already,
I'm going to need to rely on you for the comic book content. But Shang-Chi, comic book, Marvel movie, Asian cast. It was dope. Came out just recently, and Google says martial arts master Shang-Chi confronts the past he thought he left behind when he's drawn into the web of the mysterious Ten Rings organization. Anything you want to add to that synopsis?
Nah, it's different than the comic book. They've taken a lot of themes from it, but it's different. But no, it's now it's our finally getting representation in the MCU, which I've been dying for. And I think stuff that was problematic from the comic book, because the original father character was a character by the name of Fu Manchu, which was a property that Marvel purchased, and that was very problematic. And actually, the origin of Shang-Chi based on Bruce Lee and a lot of the kung fu films during those the black exploitation days. So it was very problematic in its structure initially. But then they've refined it, they've changed it, and it just became at least something for us as Asians so that we could connect to. It was us existing in the Marvel universe. At one time he had superpowers, which was stupid. I'm
so glad they cut that out.
They've cut that shit out. They've updated the origin story with the father. Mandarin was always a popular character. One of my favorite updates in Writings of Wrongs that they did in the film was, which I'm sure we'll touch upon, with Wenwu and the idea of Mandarin. They killed it. They made it so amazing, that update and change. But that was brought in interplaying that too from the comic book, but Mandarin was never the father. Again, with Fu Manchu, but then there was I forgot the name of the latest name of the father. I think it was an offshoot from the Fu Manchu shit. Mm-hmm. But they've adapted it and they've made it better. And now they're fucking killing it with the MCU, and we're getting Shang-Chi, man, and we have it now. Katie was never, Aquafina's character was never in the comic book, but I appreciate the update and just kind of now having that kind of a dynamic relationship, platonic male-female relationship, friendship being put on the big screen that I haven't seen on other films or just amazing. They killed it. The sister character, Razor Fist, was from the comic book. Was just kind of a one-off character, so I like that update. Death Dealer was from the comic book. Good shit. There's not enough I can say about fucking Tony Leung, aka Wenwu, aka Mandarin, aka Fu Manchu. That was the father in the actual comic book.
What I understand, I've been a fan of Tony Leung forever.
Yes.
The movie that they based The Departed on, it's called Infernal Affairs. That's like my favorite Tony Leung movie probably ever. But 2046, In the Mood for Love. There's others, but amazing. He doesn't speak English that well. I was actually really, really impressed with the English that he displayed. And I think the rumblings is that he actually doesn't actually speak English that well. He is just that great of an actor, which wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me because he's that great of an actor. And I think so the good parts. But you actually have some negatives. Well, shouldn't we lead with the negatives and then Oh, is that what you want? Okay, we can start with the negatives. Because I'm like, wow, bro. Because I Well, there are some stuff I have problems with. So go ahead, let's go. Okay, so we met. So me and you,
Yeah.
as people, as men, we met at the Black Panther cosplay premiere, and there was just a feeling when I watched that movie of celebration. There was just something about that where I don't want to say I've never felt it before, but it was a feeling of celebration, of exaltation, as like accomplishment, a coming together of Black excellence. And I know that they keep on comparing, whether you like it or not, Shang-Chi to Black Panther, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but I didn't feel that level of celebration. I watched it, and to me it felt like I was watching a movie. I didn't feel like I was at an event. I didn't feel like it was like a coming together. And maybe that's just on me. Maybe I'm skeptical, but it just didn't have that.
Would you say, in that regard, and pausing us in this moment at right now, because we're living in the pandemic and we couldn't, because that's one thing that I wish we weren't living in the pandemic and we could have been out in full regalia. Like you were in your, for the Black Panther premiere, you were awesome representing the yellow apparel. I had on a barong, but was black and gold to just do like a Filipino Black Panther, if you will, because I couldn't wear, the African garb. So I did a Filipino garb, but with respect to those colors. And we were able to just gather as people of color and celebrate the film because we weren't living in a pandemic. And that was so beautiful. But for Shang-Chi, because we're in the pandemic, we couldn't. And that's why I didn't feel like a celebration, because I wish we had this to do that, bring everybody out and all be together. But people, we can't, because we're living in a pandemic. And like when I went to see an advanced screening with my wife and daughter, they were super scared to go because, again, we haven't seen films since the pandemic started. This is the first film that we watched since the pandemic started. And still they weren't wanting to go. We then saw it again, but we bought seats separated from everybody else. And what's super sad is it's a fucking Marvel movie. Pre-pandemic, you're lucky if you didn't buy advanced seats well in advance for opening weekend. Or else you're ass out. You'd have to have bought it months in advance. But because we're in fucking pandemic, no one's going to see this shit. And that's what sucks so bad as well, that we couldn't like celebrate and all go as people like we all did for when Black Panther came out.
So I ended up spending over $100 for 2 tickets because I bought two seats. So me and my wife, and then 2 seats, and it wasn't a set. And it was like, well, you could have, other people could have watched. You're right. They could have, but it wasn't packed. It was literally, I was just buying it to secure the space. Sure. I definitely think the community makes a difference, but I definitely felt like when I was watching Black Panther, I was watching something epic, with Shang-Chi. And it sounds wrong, and I don't mean it this way, but I don't have better words. I felt like I was watching a martial arts movie. The stakes, and what I didn't like about it generally was like the stakes didn't seem that high. It just seemed like, it's like a guy and his dad and fucking, whatever. The stakes didn't seem high until literally the last fight scene, which it just seemed like a martial arts film. I'd seen all that stuff before. The fighting in the on the scaffolding, the fighting at the underground fight ring. And shout out to Ronnie Chang. He's fucking hilarious. I love him.
Hilarious.
I did not feel like I saw anything that I had never seen before. What I never saw before, which I thought was dope, was the Foo Dogs. That actually seeing them, I don't want to say in real life, but seeing them in real life, I was like, oh, that's wild. Because if you look, I've got Foo Dogs, and then hold on, right? Oh, there, there, and then there. So I'm a huge fan of them. I thought that was a dope visual. But yeah, I felt like something was missing, and it might be the pandemic. It might just be me. I might be broken. Who knows?
No, I'm with you. I can see your point. It's martial arts movie. It didn't like. I can't put words on it. I'm just like my boy Loy. The best martial arts movie I've ever seen.
The wire work, amazing.
Magical.
That bus scene, awesome.
Yeah.
The bus scene, the bus fight scene was awesome.
Yeah.
Again, like I don't want to say that it wasn't good. It's just like as someone that's been watching these movies forever, it was like, oh, you just did everything. Like there's nothing new. I didn't see anything new. And I think maybe I just have a really, really high standard or expectation, and maybe that's my fault. What I will say though, what I did love was that.
Well, no, let's stay on the negatives before we get to the positives. What other negatives? Because I think there's some other negatives.
Yeah, the first thing that you see when you see Tony Leung as a dad, he's like, "I miss you." And it's like, who the fuck says that? What kind of Asian dad says that shit? Fucking fantasy. Like, there was like, what else? What stuck out in your mind? Like, what bothered you?
I love dragons. I love the mythical nature of where we were at in Talo. But then, I'm sure this is why Marvel, we can do mystical dragons, Shang-Chi. That's what's cool about Asians. But it's like, is that all that we are? We're going to give them a mystical dragon. We'll have dragons fighting in the air. It was great visuals. And I think if anybody can do it and make it look dope as fuck, it's fucking Marvel.
Right.
But
of course,
it was like
the dragon.
It felt like our Asian stereotype. Like that's what sold it for them. We're gonna put it on full display. Did you feel that?
Yes, and it was like, but for me, it was like, of course, like I had a checklist of like all the Asians there. Martial arts, check. Like disapproving dad, check. Dragon, check. Mystical, and I think that what I found problematic, and I'm stretching, but this is it's me. I always make things more than what they are. They do their best to make everything feel foreign and alien and mystical and mythical and not familiar. Like even when they get to a place that exists, Macau, there's like, oh, look at all these people dancing in the park and all the things, and then like oh, Tony Leung doing Dance Revolution. It's like it's almost tongue-in-cheek parody when I see these things, and it's like, oh, mystical foreign land where you can't get to, and it's like, and then you have to get this epic battle when it's just like the people that have lived there, they're preparing for this all their life, that have been holding back these mythical creatures, and then 3 caravans of just guys that just showed up out of the forest. Like, really? That's all you guys needed to do? There's always nonsensical shit in movies, and you go, okay, this guy's 4,000 years old and he's got a 20-year-old son. Okay, great. Like nobody wants to address that shit. 4,000 years old and marries a woman that's in her 20s. Nobody wants to address this shit. Okay. I think that it just flew by me, just this mystical, the stereotypical checklist of everything that I expect when I see an Asian movie. Yes. Also, the thing, I have this crazy synopsis conspiracy theory. It's like, we can only be the hero if we're also the villain. Like, you look at all of the Jet Li movies that he's with DMX or anything like that. Like, the main villain is always an Asian guy, and that is kind of how I felt about that. And yeah, of course, we're the bad guy. If we're the good guy, of course we're the bad guy.
That's layers on that one, bro. I feel that.
And don't get me wrong. If you guys are in the comments being like, "Oh, you're stretching," and I go, "Yes," but take a step back and I can show you the points.
Yeah,
it's stretching, but it's still legit, I think.
So is those all your negatives?
At the moment, yes, that's all.
At the moment. All right, so let's turn to the.
And it's nitpicking. I get it. It's like the value definitely outweighs the negatives for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So let's flip it to the positives. If we can, I can't think of. I'm sure there's other negatives that we pointed out, but what's crazy is that a lot of the things that I didn't like, I also did like. You know what I'm saying? That's the weirdness about this whole thing. Yes, it had a lot of the check, like the check off list you said.
Yep.
But I think for me this time though, it was us that did it this time. It wasn't the white man writing and directing and fitting us into the same framework that they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to celebrate ourselves and write what we know because it had an Asian production, writing, directing, cast. It was so beautiful in that regard. And you know what? I think also, I don't know if you have the affinity, you know, I love Kung Fu films and Asian martial arts films, but then again, that's that stereotype. Oh, you guys love it because that's what y'all do, blah, 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 blah. And so you stray away from it because you're tired of that typecasting or just putting in that box or that label. So you just like, you know what? A lot of us don't like it because we don't want to be in that. But for this, like, it made us, or for me, I felt like I got to embrace it again. You know what I'm saying? Because it was us doing it. And that makes a hell of a whole difference, you know?
Maybe I have a wrong outlook. Maybe this is what defines us. And I am just tired of it. And I'm bucking against the system. Maybe this is our culture. And I'm just angry. But
I hear you.
You know, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon vibes. I think I PTSD from always being asked that and always. But you know, the fight scene between Tony Leung and his mom, the mom,
Fala Chen.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's very Crouching Tiger, and I think the Tai Chi versus aggression, you know, style is such a trope that's always been in martial arts. It's always that Tai Chi is always the neutralizer that I kind of forget about it. I forget that bothers me.
Yeah.
I will say one of my favorite parts of the movie. Yeah. My most favorite part is the fact that the dumbest martial art weapon in the world that I've ever seen were the rings. I've never respected it. And for the first time ever, they made it look cool. The rings.
Yeah.
I'm always watching the Kung Fu theater movies, and it's like, that is literally the dumbest weapon probably ever. Which kid grows up being like, hey, you could choose from swords or nunchucks or spears or swords on spears. Let me get the rings. Let me get the iron rings around my arm, because that shit's gotta suck.
We've never seen it blast off like their arms and shit like that, which was super, it looks cool as a visual.
Yeah, it looks so cool, but it looks so dumb in the martial. You know, like like weapon. The guy hits you with the sword. Weapons that goes between the thing and cuts your arm off.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Who chooses trombone in band? It's the same kid that goes, "You just do like 10 rings on each arm. Like, let's just do that weapon. Dumbest weapon ever." But they made it look dope. I love that.
Hell yeah. That whole opener going into when he was going against other warriors, and you know when they took it back in time, fucking just the visuals on that were super fucking cool. And then even in to beat the last monster thing that came through the gates,
they didn't want to talk about at all.
They didn't made it come up out of the chest, right?
Yeah,
fucking sick. Yeah,
visuals dope. What I did like, and it's very nuanced, and it was very, very apparent to me, was like the Asian versus the Asian American culture. Like,
your ABC. When Ronnie said that, coming off the elevator, I love that. Oh, I speak ABC too. You know,
it fucking hurt me. It hurt me so much.
But you felt that's so real shit though, right?
Because it hurt me because it was so real, because it was so nonchalant. It was so obvious. It was like, you know how many times I've been called, oh, you're ABC. Like in Cantonese, there's a term. It's it's what I named my production company. It's called Juk Sing King. I'm the king of the Juk Sings. Juk Sing literally means bamboo people. And as a visual, it looks like bamboo, my cup that I drink from. The reason why they call that is like bamboo, if you were to pour water at one end of a bamboo shoot, it would never get to the other end, right? Because it's slotted. That the visual being that the culture of China, the Chinese culture will never flow through you because you are a bamboo person. You are Juk Sing because you are not born in China.
Damn.
So when he goes, "Oh, you're ABC, I speak ABC," it's like, fuck you. First of all, I fucking hate you. And I don't know why I'm so angry in the theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, that hit hard.
Yeah. But it was like, when have we seen that though? Like, I don't remember seeing that in enough films that talked on that. So it was just real talk, just all the little different things, if you're paying attention, was just insane and just amazing. I have to tell you what another thing that in regards to this film, after I watched it, I had the press conference with everybody. Disney had this, for the press. Ronnie Chang led the press conference. What was really cool that I wish the world could have saw the press conference. So, predominantly Asian cast, and he was leading it and talking to everybody. Like after he would get done with the question though, before he started talking, I forgot who he was talking to, but he spoke in Mandarin or the language or whatever to Simu Liu, like all of a sudden, and everybody's like looking. He was like, they're probably wondering, the Disney white people are probably wondering what I'm talking. And Simu responded back, "Why are you talking in like this? Oh, just to fuck with Disney or something." Or he didn't say fuck with, but I thought that was so hilarious because it's what we do as a culture, right? Yeah. So here we're all talking, English, but then if we want to say something to somebody else, they'll talk in the language because and he did that during the press conference quite a few times.
That's hilarious.
I was laughing my ass off. Yeah. And I'm sure other Asian Americans, because that's what we just do as a culture. And he was kind of slipping it in there just to fuck with Disney. It was so amazing. Anyway, side point.
If you have not seen Ronnie Chang's Netflix special, it's probably one of the best specials that came out in 2020.
Hell yeah. And if you want insight as Asian Americans and just culture, it's brilliant. Yeah.
He's such a great comedian. So to see him and just be nonchalant about stuff, you go, oh yeah, like we all have that. I have those cousins, I have those relatives where you sit there and go, oh, you're cooler than me. Okay, I'm gonna kick you in the shins when I can. But yeah, having to explain to non-Asian people that there is a difference between people from and people here. The best way I can explain it, especially to my Black friends, is like there's African Americans and then there's Africans.
Yes.
And then they go, ooh, I get it. Mm-hmm. Like that's the simplest solution.
Yep.
What else? What else about the movie did you like?
Shit, everything, dude. I really enjoyed it, man. Like from a comic book standpoint, the updates, the Mandarin. Can we talk about sitting down at dinner? While everybody can be super angry, like we as Asians, everybody are angry, but at dinner, we're gonna fucking eat this dinner. Yeah, y'all could be mad as fuck at each other. Yeah, but this is the time where this is dinner time right now. Yeah, and then we get Tony Leung explaining the Mandarin concept. Yeah, that a lot of us were upset with in Iron Man 2. It's fucking, and Trevor Slattery, that an amazing performance by Ben Kingsley to come in here. We bring that role back, but just the playback, because we were all very upset. I know I was. Yeah. Oh, fucking Ben Kingsley's the Mandarin. That's the one Asian character we have. You have this brother in here, even though he's Asian.
And then they don't even make him like the villain. They make him like no, this is Tony Stark's arch nemesis, and they don't even make it a thing.
But
that bothered me.
Yeah, oh yeah, we were super mad. But then to rewrite everything that we knew, and they did it with like a short film that they had that they did with.
All Hail the King. 3 movies later.
So they cleaned it up. It was always a concept, or it was somebody else, or was it a concept, or was it somebody else? But then to hear when Wu, like, oh, you know how white people do. They talk about the mystique or whatever, blah blah blah, and then they just they have this framework, and so they Mandarin thing and the 10 rings concept, and so really the Mandarin, quote unquote, was the white dude that was in Iron Man 2, and not really Trevor Slattery. So I forgot that character, Killian,
which pissed me off because they do that all the time too. Yeah. Look at like Rush Hour, right? The Asian guy was the bad guy, and then it wasn't the Asian guy, it was the white guy. It was like, how do you guys just write the same thing?
But just in how white colonialism and just how they try to take a lot of our shit.
Yep.
He threw it right back just in that one line. That the Mandarin thing that somebody created, but I've been around for forever, and I'm this, all the descriptors that he gave, that he's been this mystical person for so long, which we know he's been around for forever. But like how white ownership, that just was a brilliant line. Right, I can't remember all the words. I'm trying to remember right now. But what did you think of that updating of that whole thing?
I'm glad that they just didn't brush it. My fear was that they were just not even going to
forget about it. Not even.
It was such a fuck up where they were like, let's just fucking not talk about it. But the fact that they went out of their way to retcon it correctly. What bothered me kind of not even in the movie was when Kevin Feige was promoting the movie, he admitted that he fucked up in casting the ancient one, Tilda Swinton, and he was like,
that still bothers me.
It does. And the fact that at the beginning, like, we just don't want to bother. We don't want to upset China, which is okay. If that is your reason, I'm not okay with it, but that's your reason. And now they're like, well, we thought we were being so smart. Well, which one is it? Are you apologizing because now you're promoting this right now? Which one is it? So when I heard that prior to watching the movie, I was like, oh, I feel like there's a possibility of a lot of fuckery.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. So
total tangent. I don't know if you're watching the What If series on Disney.
I am.
So we had a Doctor Strange episode. Did you see the Doctor Strange episode?
I did.
We're living in a fucking variant universe with this stuff, right? That's what this whole What If shit is. I wanted my Tilda Swinton wrong righted, but they still fucking kept her in there. Did that piss you off? That pissed me off. I'm like, could you have written that in this alternate universe, given us a proper ancient one here? But nah, they stuck with fucking Tilda. So ties ended, but that was one I wish I would have been righted. And they still can. Marvel, you can still correct this. You can still correct this later on with these variants and all this shit that we're doing now. But
a white British woman. British.
So that's the one thing, Marvel. We have beef, Marvel. We have beef still because of that.
Yeah. So, and again, I don't want to say that I don't want to disparage the movie. I enjoyed it as far as martial arts films go. I appreciate it. All of the faces were Asian, with the exception of Razor Fist, which thankfully, because that was the dumbest villain ever.
It was all of that it needed to be. It was to me, it's dumb. It was exactly what it needed to be, and it fit what it needed. Yeah.
The core choreography, the wire work, the imagery, all of it was top notch. And I don't think that they spared any expense. And that is what I wanted. I'm sorry. I just remembered another thing I really enjoyed. I'm curious if you enjoy this too.
Like using your real name, not your American. I think this was at the dinner too. Yeah. What did you think about that one, bro?
That fucking cut. That cut
too, right?
That cut. Because I mean,
tell me.
Okay, so you got a dope name, right? You got Patrick Strange,
bro. And well, to be honest with you, straight up, I don't think I've ever really talked. I've never talked about this on a podcast, but I've hated it, man. It's very American, very Anglo. But my father's white, so that's the name to be expected. Funny thing, and few people know this. So when I was in the Navy and I went to sub school, I was in sub school in Groton, New London, Connecticut. Becoming a nuclear sub guy. I changed. I was telling people my name was, and this is so fucking corny. I'm so embarrassed by this. I told people my name was Malik, Malik, because at the time I was really into hip hop, and I still am into hip hop. But I didn't want people to know my real name, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. And they'll probably, that doesn't sound like you don't look like a fucking Malik. I don't give a fuck. That's my name. But I was telling people that was my name when I was out and about. And here's even more corniness, right? I had a breakdown on if Malik stood for my actions leave increased knowledge.
Yeah,
you see how much of a hip hop head I was?
Yeah,
KRS-One, knowledge reigns supreme. Number one, and my Malik was my actions leave increased knowledge, because I was a fake ass rapper, but I wasn't trying to be a rapper. I didn't want to go by Patrick Michael Strange. to me was a very white name that I've never been really happy with.
I'm gonna go with. I feel like everybody's got issues with their name, or they go through a phase with the issue with their name.
But as an immigrant kid, again, I growing up hating white people. Well, I'm not. I didn't. My father was white, but just being a woke kid, knowing that as an immigrant, a lot of our Asian women were just trying to escape from our third world ass country and marrying these white men. And all these white men were abusing and taking these young Filipino wives, and you just, there's no heritage in that. You know what I'm saying? And then further, as you get older and you learn about religions, my name was based off of St. Patrick and St. Michael. That's why they couldn't choose between Patrick or Michael, but they were saints. But I know my history about Lapu Lapu and how Christianity came over from Spain and all that shit. And just, maybe I'm too fucking woke, but just like,
no,
that just kind of came over, and it was indigenous history that has been forgotten, but because the people had a bigger stick, Yeah. And I feel like a lost culture represented, and I want my people to be remembered. And so I've always hated my name.
So, growing up here, I'm named after my grandfather. I'm named after both of my first name and my middle name are my father's father and my mother's father.
What's your name, bro? So what is your real name, or is it Loy Lee, or is that the Americanized name, or do you have your true?
That is the actual name is Loy. Okay. Everyone thinks it's something else. Like, no, Loy, and I have a middle name, which not relevant, and last name is Lee, which is, and it always bothered me because my name literally means to come here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the reference. I don't know, but I'm named after my grandfather, and try to be an actor, like you've got a dope actor name. Like, I know you don't like it, but like on paper, Patrick Strange or even Michael Strange.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's bring this guy in for an audition,
But they always expect a white dude. They don't ever expect me when I finally walk in the room. And that's also what cuts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But with me, it's like Loy Lee. Oh, we know exactly we know exactly what we're calling him for. There's nothing else we're gonna call him in for except for this like open age Asian male. I thought about changing my name. To I'll tell you, since you shared, I'll share with Asher Kai. Asher was a Jewish name. It's a biblical name, and Kai was just enough to let you know that I was Asian. Just enough. So it was something that worked well. Yeah. I'm glad that I didn't.
How old were you when you were thinking about doing that?
When I was an actor, like in my 20s.
Oh, really?
Okay. In my 20s, where I was like, I'm getting auditions, but not the auditions that I want. I should, and then I'm sure some agent was like, hey, we're going to change your name.
Yeah.
Johnny Rockhold.
Dude, that's crazy. I thought about changing my name too when I became SAG-AFTRA, and actually, and as you too. And then, especially when I became SAG, when I had had all the, when you become SAG and you have to choose your name and all that, because it was difficult for me, and I was like, everybody agreed Patrick Michael Strange was the best course of action. And do the whole name instead of just Patrick Strange. Put the middle name in there to just that looks good as an actor from an actor standpoint. I was the thought process back then with everybody that I had people involved, my wife and other family members and other actor friends to chime in. Patrick Strange was never gonna throw the Michael in there. You throw the middle name in there.
Yeah.
The three was where it's at. But I was at a crossroads with that, man. And again, because it's always been the problem for me. And I have to tell you, when I started, I feel I said we, and I'm proper in saying we, because again, I credit you, brother, with helping me start Show Pal Show. When we started Show Pal Show, I was still Patrick Michael Strange, but I didn't want to be. I wanted to rep my culture, and Kuya P was born from that. I chose that because I've always been the big brother. If for those that don't know, what Kuya means brother, but like the big brother, the respectful, like a term of endearment, but also a term of respect as well. Yeah. And so I was like, I've always been the Kuya. Let's do the Kuya. And then I thought about, funny enough, again, it always goes back to hip hop. I thought about Master P. My name is Patrick. And for those that know, Master P's real name is Percy Miller, famous No Limit leader. I was like, okay, let me be Kuya P. And it had like a ring to it. And I didn't co-sign or have anybody else, co-sign. I just when I recorded episode 1, I was like, I'm going to be Kuya P. And then, cause I had these 2, female friends that were going to be my co-hosts. You know what? If I'm Kuya, they're the Ates, even though they're a lot younger than me. And Ates are more of an, again, older in terms on the female side. I'm going to make them the Ates, and I'm going to, because I'm a comics head, I'm a Spider-Man freak. They're the Amazing Ates. So it was Kuya P and the Amazing Ates. That was how it was born. But I love that Kuya P has become like my nickname now, and how a lot of people know me now because of Show Pal Show. Again, I can't thank you enough, brother, for that. And then when I do these interviews and I talk to all these other people about their projects, they're like, oh, because they see it like you see it right now, but people aren't watching this in the Zoom cut. But like my Zoom name is Kuya P, and then I have like Nerds of Color, Show Pal Show, and RW. But when I'm doing these interviews, they're like, so Kuya. And then I have people speaking Tagalog in a weird way now. They don't, because it's like, is that your name? I'm like, because I also saw Patrick. I'm like, yeah, that's my actor name, but as a host, I'm Kuya P.
Yeah.
And so they respect it. And like the interview yesterday was cool hearing Justin I was interviewing Justin Chan of Blue Bayou. Go see Blue Bayou, y'all. He was like, yo, Kuya. Fucking love it, man. Yeah, it just puts a smile on my face that I got people speaking Tagalog, and it's a name that I feel that's close to my culture because it's a Tagalog word, and it brings me closer back to home.
What I do like is the fact that you wanted to integrate your culture, but yet you have it like Patrick, like you connected, you bridged the gap. With me, it's like I don't have any affiliation with any Ashers or any Kais, but yet that was the name that I brought with me. Like it didn't make sense, and I'm glad that I didn't do it. I just so when Tony Leung was talking about that, we know everybody that's like
that hit hard, bro.
The funny thing is, like, they went through this whole monologue about like, oh, your name is Shang, but you changed your name to Sean. But it's like,
that was hilarious too in the earlier part of it.
It was, but it bothered me based on like, no, everyone does that. Your name's John, but now you're Johnny. Like Johnny, Jimmy, Timmy, Tommy, Ricky, Bobby.
Yeah,
that's what everyone does. Everyone does that. It's like, what is the closest American sounding name to the name that I have now?
Yeah,
it didn't bother me like it bothered me, but it's like, no, that's how he came up with Sean, because his name was Shang. Like, but everyone does that, and I think that it's funny because we do that to make other people comfortable. We do that to avoid that literal interaction. Shang, Shang, like Shang, like Shang. Yeah. People do that to avoid that conversation.
Yep. But then when at the table, when he was like, no, tell me your real name.
Yeah.
That pride. And I forgot the words he said, but like, that's who you are. Yeah. Fucking killed me.
I wanted her to say, no, my name is Kate. Like, I wanted her to say, really? To show the difference, to show the, like, no, I'm a,
yeah, it was Kate with Aquafina. You're right. That's
yeah. My name is Kate. Like, I just wanted to see, like, I wanted to show the difference, being like, oh, we all don't have Asian names with Asian meanings. It's like sometimes our names are just the name that we put on our birth certificate. People go, oh, what's the significance of Lloyd? Like I used to come, oh, my grandfather, and I was like, that's just my fucking name. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just the name given.
I hear you. But do you think it was important though that they did it this way, just to, because there's so much self-hate that just taking pride in yourself and your culture. That was the statement in the film, right?
Yeah. And I think that, yes. So there's those things, right? Where I would like to have seen, and I'm not a writer, but like Kate calling him Sean, like, cause she's known him for 10 years. And then him going, and then the dad going to the tirade of like, no, that's who you are. That's his name. This is what it means, blah, blah, blah. And then what's your name? Kate. What's your real name? Kate. Like that's what I've liked to have seen, just to show the difference.
I feel that. It's a very conflicted, and that's what colonialism and imperialism has done to us.
The water is muddy.
Yeah.
The water is very muddy.
I think the fact that was illustrated in such a movie like this, a Disney large movie that put it out there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Addressed. It was a conversation.
Yes.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I talk from the side of like, this is the issues that I deal with, because I do have a Chinese name, but it's not like, it's different. It's like nuanced. And there's a lot of people whose name is Johnny. You're like, oh, is your name really Johnny? What's your Chinese name? I don't know. My real name is Johnny. It's on my birth certificate, I guess I'm speaking for us on that side.
Yeah, no, I feel that. It's so, but I think they handled it briefly, and it starts these conversations.
It does, and it's the waters are so muddied, and I think that I'm so far removed from being from the mainland, and then being my parents from being the mainland. I'm like one more removed, where it's like, and I'm always fighting that fight. Yeah. There's that fight between the FOB ABC, and then there's this like ABC,
Yeah.
So
yeah. What was the feeling, the rest of the feeling besides yourself in the household? With you said you saw it with your wife. How did she feel about it? Because you're as a Filipino, and you're
she picks up a lot more on that, the self-hating, the colonization, the things that kind of stuck out to you was the same things she brought out to me. Was just like, we have forgotten our name, we have forgotten our ways, we have forgotten some things. But she was kind of like, why does it got to be Asian on Asian crime? Why why is it got to be a dragon? Why is it got to be like, how come nobody addressed, like, you would think they've been there for thousands of years. You would think there'd be something more protection than just a fucking gate. Like, there'd be more, right?
She didn't enjoy it, or did she?
She enjoyed it. She
did enjoy it, but just some obvious, that we kind of just put aside because we finally had this. Type. Yeah, I feel that.
And she had to kind of walk me off the ledge a little bit. And she's like, it's the first conversation of many conversations. And you go, you're right. You're right. I sometimes forget the wins over the nuanced losses. Yeah,
I feel that. That's very that's beautiful of you to observe that and to know that of self. You know what I'm saying?
And the observation comes from being told by a lot of not Asian people that I'm stretching. Like, hey, that's kind of a reach. You're reaching there.
Yeah.
And you go, maybe I am, but then you kind of get into the more nuance, like, yeah, I'm reaching, but that's who I am. That's what I see. And I'm not fabricating stuff. Just you don't see it that way.
Yeah. So for me, my household, because you know my wife and my daughter, they got more intrigued. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff that I grew up on, and I appreciate it in different ways, and then also avoid it in different ways, for its appearance and stereotypes. But my wife was like, oh, so, and my daughter as well. So it made them want to kind of see other like wushu style films, of that nature.
It's that Tai Chi is very, very soothing to, like, easy on the eyes. It's very easy to watch. What I did like was that, the foo dogs, there was like a fox with 9 tails, that weird thing with wings and no face. Like, those are all mythologically correct things. Which I thought was pretty dope. I really thought that was cool. There's some meme that went out that kind of really broke that down. Yeah, these are actual stuff. And I was like, I love it. I love that they put that representation in there. They actually dug in there like that. I would have liked to see the Monkey King in there somewhere, but but that's me being weird. Part 2. We have those Shang-Chi's, man. We're gonna get more, hopefully. One would assume we'll see more Shang-Chi's. So what do you think of that? We'll say 10 rings, obviously. What did you think of that, the post-credit cut where Wong comes in and they're talking? Wong is talking.
5,000 years this has been around, and then it let out a beacon, and I think that's all lead up to Eternals. I think that'll be addressed in Eternals, I would assume. Curious again why it didn't go off when Wang Wu had it, but I think a lot of the conversation that I've had with other nerd friends was that when they had the fight between Wang Wu and Shang-Chi, and then he took ownership of it, and it, was under the original powers from Ta Lo, the mother and stuff, like that was what created this beacon. And that's what set it all off. Maybe
I'm kind of looking at it from if you look at it from a Thor aspect, right? Kind of mythological to kind of keep in line. I think that Wang Wu wasn't worthy. Sure, he could wield it, but wield it,
I agree I'm with you on that. And it made its way back home to Ta Lo. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And now worthy smooth. I'm with you on that.
There's a worthy, there's a chosen, there is the reason why the protector woke up, because he had the heart of the dragon, but he was also patient, all of the things that made him worthy.
Agreed.
All of the things that they were saying, I was like, oh, this feels like kind of a Thor hero's journey. Yeah. And then when the beacon let out, I was like, oh, you have a new protector. Maybe it's a new protector, right? He's had it for thousands of years. Maybe the beacon went out because it's a new one, or maybe because he's worthy. That's kind of what I got. But it looks like there's a possibility that Shang-Chi is going to be the face of the franchise for the next phase, which that's what I felt like they were building up for, because it's going to be part of the Eternals, and then he's going to be part of quite possibly the next bad guy. Is this talking about Silver Surfer, or are they talking about Galactus? Yeah, there's a possibility that he is the guy from now on.
And if that's the case, it's going to be super dope and intriguing. I got to ask you another question along those lines. How do you feel about, so he has the rings now, right? He got it from, he inherited it from Pops. Do you want him using the rings a lot, or only here? We here, as a comic book fan, Shang-Chi was the greatest fighter. He's like Batman, keep
that storyline. Right? Fuck that storyline. I hate that. Continue.
Well, but just like, he's amazing as a human person, right? Like that's what's so amazing about him. And then when they gave him superpowers in the comic book, like really, that's what we're gonna do to make him cool now, to make other audiences, white audiences, like Shang-Chi. We gave him powers. He's an dude with powers. But what was brilliant about his character, he was just but now here's an equalizer. We're giving him the rings. So like if he needs to fight, if he wants to stand toe to toe with Thor or these other gods, here's his equalizer and makes him super powerful. But like, okay, I'm cool with that. He'll have the rings when he needs to, or like he tossed them down when he fought his dad. Fuck these rings, Dad. This is what took you and messed up our whole family, because you were all about these rings. I thought there was another great human aspect in the finale. Like, I care about you, Dad, and so he fucked these rings, but then he needed the rings to kill at the end. But like, there's a human aspect of it that I think will connect everybody. So like, keep him the fighter, but when you need to find a omega level threat like a Thanos, then we'll take on the rings. That's just something I was curious as a fan of the character. I don't know if you were a fan of the comic books, but like as a fan of the comic book character and now in the film, keep him the best fighter ever. But then if you find a threat that's like from a god or an eternal, boom, he can arm himself with these rings, which will make him go toe to toe with something.
Let me.
Is that super nerdy? I know that's nerdy as fuck.
No, I think it's very okay. Hold on. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But you're literally saying you don't think Captain America should be using his shield, or Thor his hammer, or Stormbreaker, or Iron Man. That. You're literally saying I don't think Thor should use Stormbreaker unless he's fighting an Omega level character. I don't.
But he has powers. But then so going back to Cap, then you're right. Because Cap has no powers. But he has superhuman. He has the superhuman blood flowing through him.
Okay, then Iron Man, don't use your suits.
A normal dude. Huh? You said Iron Man. Iron Man made this armor.
Yeah,
You're right.
like, hey, don't use your armor unless you are fighting. No, fuck that. Fuck that. Let him use a ring. I want to walk around. I want to see him with a gold chain, rocking all of the rings, and just like throw it over his shoulder all the time. I don't know. I think that I'm tired of watching the Asian hero have to do all of the work where he's chosen.
You got me.
He's the chosen one, right?
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing like, Steve Rogers. Yeah, you barely passed physical training, but we're gonna choose you. You're chosen. Thor, he was born that way. He's chosen. Karate Kid, chosen. Last Samurai, chosen. Can't we get one that's chosen?
I feel you.
Danielson beat the guy named Chosen.
You're right. All right. I got you. You know what? I just, I go back and forth with the comic book and then the character, but then that's how they do us and they make us do all the work. Now you got me there. I just don't think like if you have a criminal crossing the street that just jacks somebody's purse, he don't need to use rings against that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why not? Spider-Man does. Spider-Man uses all of his spider senses to fight crime in his neighborhood.
He could kill somebody with them damn rings.
You could, but that'll teach the next guy not to steal purses.
I don't want him killing people like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel us that we're bigger than that. He's like Black Panther, you know what I'm saying? Where we can figure out other ways to solve problems.
Black Panther just walked around with steroids running through his veins all the time. And you think that Shang-Chi shouldn't use his rings? Get out of here.
You know what? I got another question then. Let me because you got me conflicted, man. I'm with you. Katie, Awkwafina's character. The fact that Wong brought both of them out of that bar at the end, you know what I'm saying? I got something for the both of you. Katie was never in the comic book. She's brand new in the MCU, but now is such an intriguing character to me. I'm curious what they're going to do with Katie, Awkwafina's character, because she's now technically an Avenger as well.
I haven't thought that through. So now at this point, you are rocking my mind.
Dude, how cool is that? We're going to have two Asians thinking about that now.
Okay, this is what I love. What I love about the Katie, not only that she represented like being Asian American in general.
Yeah.
But what I loved about her was that she got the skill set montage treatment. She learned a skill set over a music montage and then was she's like, what is that? It's a bow and arrow. And the next thing you know, 15 minutes later, she wins the war with the skill set she learned in that music montage.
That's dope shit, dude. It's fucking
because I mean,
what are we doing with her?
Tom Cruise learned how to be a samurai over winter break. Danielson learned how to be the best all valley karate champion in freaking over house chores. We finally got our montage hero. But what is she gonna go? I don't know. Do we need another Hawkeye? Does she become the new Hawkeye?
Nah, I don't think she's gonna be bow and arrow type. But she's also Iron Man type, because remember, she's smart as fuck from Berkeley. Like, she could do so many different things. I'm curious what they're going to do with her.
Do they need another Shuri? Because I'm curious. I don't think that she's going to be a superhero. I think she's just a placement. I think she's just a placement. I don't know. Have you heard any breakdowns? Have you heard any?
No, nothing. And again, like, she's not from the comic book, so they could do a lot of different things. I'm curious. I hope she's not just a throwaway sidebar character, like you're kind of saying, like, to the side. I hope she's.
I don't see.
Why not? Why not build her into? This will be when they build up into something.
Isn't like. There's always like that analyst in the movies, the spy analyst that's like, oh, you have a door on your left-hand side coming up, turn left. She's the earpiece. She's the earpiece agent.
I don't know. I hope more.
I hope so, but
just because.
I will say I was very afraid.
I thought she was going to die straight up to give him more incentive and push. That's what they always do. They always kill off and give just the lead character something more to push them into why they do what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised, and just the dynamics of that relationship, male, female, because they always try to make them lovers or,
So
a platonic relationship like that. That's another thing that made it great.
The movie conspiracy theorist me says that, yeah, I was bothered by the fact that he didn't have a love interest. I'm not saying that it should have been Aquafina, but the fact that like he had no love interest whatsoever, or that they had Aquafina and they weren't love interest, that bothers me generally, right? Because every movie has a love interest. And I will say I have backed that down because I'm thinking about there's not a lot of love interest in the Marvel universe. Sure, Banner, Black Widow, Thor, Natalie Portman, but there's not a lot of love interests. But the fact that they were platonic friends, and I was like, oh, did you guys just like?
You just think it's because we can't be sexy. Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man.
He's sexy, right? Could throw the shirt off, but it's like, but not. I mean, no random chick was like hitting on him while he was in the valet guy, or yeah.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah. So see, these are the things that I see, and sometimes I'm stretching. Sometimes I am reaching, but sometimes you're like.
But then I think it's also important for that something like that, to see that platonic though. It was beautiful, right?
Where else is there a platonic friendship in the Marvel universe? Where? Okay, I'll wait.
It was cool to see. Finally seeing something like that in a big film like that, and
you're right. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're right. But where are there platonic friendships in the Marvel universe?
I got you.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Okay.
Damn you, Loy.
Again, I don't want to deter. I don't want to lose the nuanced. I don't want to lose all of the wins to the nuanced losses, but those are the things that my brain does see. And
I feel you.
Yeah, there was not a single love it. Dude was fighting in an underground, kicking ass, no shirt on, and not one chick was like, "Hey."
Well, Aquafina was like, "Hey."
Well, I mean, yeah,
for a half second,
and then right back to friend zone. I mean, even the chick on the bus. No. One chick was like, "Oh, you saved our life." Not one. Okay. Brother can't.
All right, man.
Okay, I feel like I shitted on it too much. I did enjoy it for all intents and purposes. I think it's a monumental thing to have, not that in context, having Snake Eyes out in the movie theater at exactly the same time, having two male leads kicking ass. Okay, we are in a new era that I am not familiar with, but I still have PSD from the era in which that I was raised.
I feel that. I also want to point out we have The Protege with Maggie Q, the first Southeast Asian led film that was also out at the same time that a lot of people are sleeping on because it didn't get as much. It got promotion, but I don't think as enough. You obviously Marvel, Disney, you're going to see a push there.
Right.
G.I. Joe, Paramount, that you saw pushes there. Maggie Q got some buzz, but
did you see Protege?
Huh?
Did you see it?
Oh yeah, I saw it well in advance, and I had an interview that's available on right now with Maggie Q. I had a chance to interview her.
You lucky bastard.
Great. It was a good film. It was a good film.
Okay.
And shout out to her. And now, as of this recording, I feel we have an Asian renaissance going on, and I think it's beautiful. We're putting out some rather decent films, with the exception of Snake Eyes. The end fails it. But we got Justin Chon now about to drop with Blue Bayou. And I think if enough people see it, man, and I hope enough people see it, it's such a fucking amazing film. I think that's going to sweep award season, or at least I hope
it better.
We'll have an Oscar-winning lead actor, hopefully winning this next award season.
Do you think?
Fucking amazing.
Do you think the success of Minari is going to hinder Blue Bayou? Because God forbid,
Minari came out this year too, right?
Well, not it came out last awards season.
And it cleared up then. So that's, I don't think it's gonna hinder this one, because that last award season, it won't be in this next award season.
But can we do it 2 consecutive years?
I fucking hope so. I hope so.
I have trust.
And another great film too that was done, but it stars Winston Duke and Zazie Beetz, 9
days.
days. That was a brilliant move, but it's written by Edson Oda, who's Asian. So I'm hoping, Justin Chong gets the writing, he's writer, director, star. That brother has to win in some category, I hope. And then Edson Oda with the writing that he did for 9 days. I hope he gets a writer's nod, an awards nod there too.
That's great. We're fucking
killing it though. As Asians, man, we're killing it.
I would love.
I'm just proud right now, man.
Like, and for me, I just am tired. I grew up watching Kung Fu flicks, and the only time that you saw representation is in Kung Fu flicks.
Yeah.
And 40 years later, the majority of our representation is still Kung Fu flicks. It's getting better.
Yeah. You're right.
It's getting better.
You're right.
The Minaris, the Better Luck Tomorrows, the Blue Bayous. These are the stories I want to see. These are the. I don't want to be seen as a fighter. I don't want to be known as fighting.
I'm with you. I think we'll leave it at that, brother.
Okay.
I will leave it at that.
I fucking love you, bro. I fucking
love you too, man. I'm so proud of this film. I feel so proud of where we are as Asians are going in regards to film. We just got to support. I love the concept that of Gold Open that we do as a community to help bring the light these films that feature us.
I keep on hearing that term.
As a community.
What does that Gold Open mean? What I don't know what
Hashtag
that means.
Gold Open. Bing Chen is the founder of that. I forgot what he's known for offhand because I'm starting to tire from talking so much today. But Bing Chen, I know he's part of the AHN that you and I are part of, Asian Hustle Network.
Yep.
That is absolutely amazing, and so many aspiring Asians on there. But Bing Chen, it's just a concept. I forgot what film they initially started it with, but it was just to bring out the Asian community to support films that are featuring and starring Asians,
Gotcha.
And Cape USA, if you're familiar with Cape, another amazing Asian organization that helps supports us as Asian Americans. But but the concept of hashtag Gold Open, I think it might have started as a Twitter thing, but just to create awareness and gather the community to support films that feature us.
Sorry, for some reason I'm thinking platinum albums, it's like a it sold 10 million at the box office. It's
Gold Open because that's another slang, yellow Asian, so.
But we how we love our money.
I'd rather be gold than yellow.
One last thing about the movie. One of the old guys from what was that mythical land?
Tallow.
That's
in the film. Yeah.
The old guy that has the kind of the most screen time.
The one that was training everybody.
Yeah, I think that's legendary actor Yu Hua from Kung Fu Hustle and a bunch of Stephen Chow movies. I think that's him. Hold on. I think that's him, and I think he's he does a lot of those movies, and I might
just passed. You said
no. I just I'm wrong. Never mind.
Okay,
disregard that.
Hold on. Somebody just died during this podcast. There was always somebody dying, man.
I was trying to give him a shout out, but apparently that's a different actor altogether because it's not showing up on his IMDb.
Well, it's because we all look the same,
Amen. Anyways,
all the love, brother. Shang-Chi, go see it. Shang-Chi and the Legend of 10 Rings. I had a hell of a time, but let's continue to hopefully just let this be a start.
In the beautiful words of my wife, it's the first conversation of many conversations.
Hell yeah. My brother, how can we reach out to you? And what are we doing for the next Kuya and the Kid?
Kuya and the Kid.
We just recorded we were late a week, y'all, but we as of this, we're gonna actually launch 2, I guess, at the same time. Or do we want to hold it in between, or do we just want to give that extra content out?
Well, let's see if we can't watch the movie. Let's figure out a movie. Let's watch it and see if we can film it tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, next week.
Well, let's figure out a movie now. We already know we're gonna do an upcoming one. Then I think you know what? The next one will be the Holy Mountain. We already said that. So I know you don't want to.
No. It's not that I feel like I'm gonna need time. I feel like a week is not enough. I feel I'm gonna have to break this up into 40 different little 10-minute sessions.
Okay.
Is there a movie that we can enjoy
between now and Holy Mountain?
Yes.
So Holy Mountain will be the episode after next then.
Sure, we're just gonna keep on
How
kicking
about-
this can down the road.
Well, no, I picked Tale of Two Sisters. It's on you. We got to
Okay.
trade off. You pick.
Uh,
What am I watching, brother?
Oh, you know what? Want to watch one of my favorite Chinese movies?
Okay.
Are you familiar with Infernal Affairs with Tony Leung and Andy Lau?
You know what? I am. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but because of our love affair with Tony Leung after this amazing Shang-Chi, I wanted to return to it and see it again because he was brilliant in fucking Shang-Chi, man. Tony Leung, as much as it was Simu Liu killing it, I think Tony Leung just made us fall in love with him again.
I love the fact that he was a relatable Chinese dad.
Yeah.
Very like triggering, but yeah, he's like, he made me want to call my dad for the first time in 30 years. I didn't, but I was like, maybe Chinese dads aren't so bad. No, my dad's horrible, but he played it in such a way where it wasn't triggering at all.
I'm 110% down for Infernal Affairs, bro.
Okay,
I'm ready to revisit. I was meaning to, but it just time. You get busy. So hell yeah.
We're gonna pretend that 2 and 3 don't exist. So we're just gonna watch the first one.
Okay. I didn't even know that they had a 2 and a 3. I don't think I ever saw it. So it's a good thing I didn't then.
Scrape that from your memory. I didn't say anything about 2 or 3. They don't exist.
All right, Infernal Affairs. We're gonna check that out.
Okay.
I'm down for that one.
I love you.
Love you.
Check me out. Everyone, check me out. Loyally Comedy across all your social media.
Hell yeah.
And between selling his comic books and he's going to sort out his handles. But at the time being, his handles are.
I love it, man. The legend Kuya P over on TikTok, Temple Far East, and Strange Since 1977. Those are my personals. And of course, the Nerds of Color, where I give you pop culture from a POC perspective, and obviously Filipinx content, because I'm all of that and more. Show Pow Show. And here, Kuya and the Kid, the home of Kuya and the Kid, Loy Lee, your boy Kuya P, the NRW, and at New Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. There you go.
Fucking love you guys. Bye.
All right, bro. Out of here. Bra, 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 bra.
Wait,